Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are going to completely unpack the hidden foundation of our modern digital lives by tracing the evolution of the microchip. We'll be exploring 12 distinct bets in silicon that quietly power literally everything around us, from those massive data centers training artificial intelligence all the way down to the invisible controller running your washing machine.
To really wrap our heads around this evolution, we have to look at this profound truth from our source material. The right constraint applied unlocks something no general-purpose solution ever could. You see, the history of computing isn't just about shrinking transistors down, it's about hardware engineers making deliberate, highly calculating bets. They are constantly having to ask themselves, what are we willing to give up to achieve something extraordinary?
So the crucial point here is that to gain unprecedented power in one specific area, engineers absolutely had to sacrifice capabilities somewhere else. Every single chip represents a literal bet, the core tension between being flexible enough to do anything and specialized enough to do exactly one thing perfectly.
Here's how we're going to break this all down today. First, the generalist foundation. Second, the rise of specialization. Third, invisible everyday computers. And finally, security, power, and integration.
Okay, starting right off with Section 1, the generalist foundation.
We're going to trace some rapid early milestones that completely democratized technology. Back in 1958, engineers realized they could actually put multiple circuits onto a single die. A decade later, in '68, DRAM comes along and solves the memory problem. But the real game changer? That was the Intel 4004 in 1971. This microprocessor contained just 2,300 transistors, but its profound breakthrough was that it could be reprogrammed. Before this, chips basically just did one job. But the microprocessor, it could do anything you told it to do by fetching data, running arithmetic, and executing instructions billions of times per second. It literally moved intelligence out of massive mainframes and right into everyday consumer products.
Now, before those microprocessors came along, computers relied on discrete logic gates. Think of these as the primitive Lego bricks of computation. Engineers had to hand-wire these building blocks onto massive circuit boards. And the cost was just immense. Huge physical space, massive weight, and astonishingly high failure rates. The big pivot was the integrated circuit, which brilliantly packed all those primitive gates onto one reliable piece of silicon, totally solving the physical bottlenecks of early computing. And this perfectly illustrates that core tension of memory we were talking about. Look at DRAM, invented in 1968, one transistor, one capacitor. But it leaks charge, meaning it forgets everything instantly the moment power is lost. That volatility is a massive cost, but the trade-off? Incredible speed, because it refreshes constantly. It's basically the sprint runner of memory. Now compare that to NAND flash, the long-distance runner. Flash holds onto your data even without power, but it moves slower. And neither of these killed the other off. They coexist today, because together they perfectly balance speed and permanence.
All right, let's move into our second section, the rise of specialization. To really see this specialization in action, just look at the totally inverse design of the GPU. A traditional CPU relies on a few really powerful cores optimized for sequential tasks, doing things one after the other. But in 1999, NVIDIA introduced the GPU to handle rendering graphics. Now, graphics required doing the exact same shading calculation on millions of pixels all at once, so they built thousands of smaller cores. And years later, researchers realized that training neural networks for AI is structurally identical to graphics rendering. It's all massive parallel matrix multiplications. The GPU accidentally became the perfect AI accelerator, completely altering the tech landscape, even though it consumes massive amounts of power.
And here we see the absolute extremes of specialization. On one side, you have the FPGA, invented in the 80s. This is hardware that can actually be physically rewired after it's manufactured. You load a file, and its logic blocks physically reconfigure. It became the secret weapon for high-frequency trading firms, allowing them to bypass operating systems entirely from microsecond advantages. On the flip side is the ASIC. It does exactly one job, like, say, mining Bitcoin, with ruthless efficiency. It strips away absolutely every unnecessary circuit. It's completely inflexible, and it definitely faces intense regulatory scrutiny over its energy consumption, but its raw performance argument, it's irrefutable.
Okay, moving on to Section 3, invisible everyday computers.
50 billion. Let that number sink in for a second. That is the staggering amount of microcontrollers produced annually. They outnumber humans roughly 6 to 1. Right now, there's a chip making decisions inside your washing machine, without an operating system, without a hard drive. It's an entire computer squeezed onto a single chip designed with radical minimalism to run a specific loop reliably forever. And by just adding cheap Wi-Fi radios to these chips, they have become the absolute backbone of the Internet of Things. Right alongside those microcontrollers is the DSP, or digital signal processor. See, the physical world is full of continuous, analog, noisy signals, like audio or sensor data. A standard CPU takes multiple clock cycles to process this kind of data, but a DSP? It handles multiply accumulation operations in a single cycle. It pays the cost of arcane, highly specific programming to pivot into perfectly managing real-time audio. This is the hidden chip that's measuring cabin noise thousands of times a second to give you active noise cancellation in your car or running the complex audio compression inside your smartphone.
Which brings us to our fourth and final section: security, power, and integration. Now, the true unsung hero of your smartphone is the PMIC, the Power Management IC. From a single 3.7-volt battery, this little chip manages dozens of voltage rails simultaneously, dynamically adjusting power thousands of times every second. It pulses current on and off at high frequencies to hit 90% efficiency, and the stakes here are incredibly high. A misconfigured PMIC can literally destroy a processor in milliseconds, but when it works perfectly, it gives us the modern laptop and smartphone battery life that we completely take for granted today.
So, as AI moved out of massive data centers and right into our pockets, we needed a new bet. Enter the NPU. While the GPU is flexible but incredibly power-hungry, an NPU is completely inflexible but extraordinarily efficient. It exists to do one thing and one thing only: matrix multiplications at massive scale. Every single time your phone unlocks with your face or applies a computational blur to a portrait photo, the NPU is running inference in milliseconds, using mere milliwatts of power. It's driving an invisible arms race across all mobile chip manufacturers as we speak.
Now, as these chips hold more and more of our lives, hardware design has actually become a form of constitutional argument. Take Apple's Secure Enclave, for example. It's a processor with isolated memory that even the main processor cannot read. During a high-profile 2016 legal battle, the FBI demanded access to an iPhone, but the Enclave-specific architecture made compliance technically impossible without breaking every single device. It really proved that hardware design is no longer just about math, it is fundamentally about defining the boundaries of privacy and surveillance.
Everything we've talked about, all these specialized components, ultimately converge into the System on a Chip, or SoC. Chips like Apple's M1 place the CPU, the GPU, the NPU, and memory all on a single die. The driving principle here is pure bandwidth. By sharing the exact same memory pool, data doesn't have to travel across a slow external bus, hitting unbelievable speeds like 68 gigabytes per second. But the cost? Zero upgradability. The RAM is soldered directly to the die. However, the performance is so unprecedented that it forced industry titans to scramble and completely reconsider what a laptop architecture should even be.
So, every chip we've looked at today represents a fundamental bet. The microprocessor bet on flexibility, the ASIC bet on raw specialization, the Secure Enclave bet on absolute isolation. And every time one of these bets pays off, it literally redraws the boundaries of what machines are allowed to know, do, and remember. The silicon just keeps shrinking and the stakes keep growing. The next chip that changes everything is already in fabrication somewhere right now. So the real question is, what constraint will it bet on next? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the technology hidden inside your world.